What's happening? What's good, dough? It's your boy, Idrif. How are you doing today? I'm doing great, in case you're wondering. And if you're new to the show, welcome. This podcast is all about leveling up your pizza game. And today, we are leveling up our pizza game through a hilarious conversation with Mal Hall. Mal is a professional comedian. And because of the pandemic, he wasn't able to go on tour with the likes of Joe Coy and Angela Johnson. But because of the pandemic, he was able to pursue his passion in pizza. And in that, he's hosted pop-ups, bought a second oven, and we talk about how he made an emotionless, data-driven decision on choosing that. Mal makes wood-fired pizzas, and he talks about incorporating charcoal into your wood-fired game, and we'll talk about the reasons why later. And last but not least, Mal recommends that if you love an artist, if you support an artist, a chef, maybe even a podcaster, maybe, word of mouth goes a very, very, very long way. And so please don't underestimate it. Keep on sharing your favorite artwork, your favorite art with your friends and family. Thank you in advance for doing that. I want to remind folks here that most of these podcasts, a lot of these podcasts are available on YouTube. So check those out. And also I recommend checking out this specific podcast on YouTube just because the conversation is so hilarious. Like, Mal's a professional comedian. I'm a funny dude. Maybe just awkward. I don't know. But yeah, it is hilarious. I thought so. I think you'll enjoy it if you watched it on YouTube or, listen to it on audio. It doesn't really matter to me. Go ahead, just consume the content. It's all good. Last but not least, thank you so much to Uni for sponsoring this episode. Mal and I are both Uni users, and we both freaking love it. And I want to congratulate the Uni team for releasing the Uni Karu. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. 16. It looks like a beast of an oven, insulated, with a door, multi-fueled options. I mean, really? Does it get any better than that for a home pizza maker or even a professional looking to do some R&D, some pop-ups, whatever? This oven has so many uses, and I definitely got my eye on that one. Check it out. Use the special link in the show notes. I got an affiliate link there if you want to use it. If you don't, it's all gravy. Also, if you're getting any type of propane oven, I got a link in the show notes for a propane refill or a new tank. I have 2 tanks. It's helpful to have a backup. You'll get a special discount if you use that link for Cinch, which is a propane delivery program. Super worth it, super amazing. I'm done talking. Let's get to the show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And remember to always ask. It's good, dough. Mal, thank you so much for being on the show today. How are you?
Yo, thanks for having me, man. I'm good. Just finishing out this Memorial Day weekend, getting ready to launch into the short week. Good. Chill.
Oh, I love those short weeks.
Yeah.
First question for you. There is no right or wrong answer. What's good, dough?
What's good, dough? I'll tell you what's good. What's good, dough? As far as the slang meaning of that question, it's good that we're coming to the end of this crazy time. Like, we could see that light at the end of the tunnel, so we can be around our friends and socialize and travel and go and see and eat all the things that we've been denied in this crazy pandemic. As far as pizza is concerned, good dough is organic ingredients. To me, the perfect dough is crispy on the bottom, airy, chewy, gooey in the middle, and then topped with amazing toppings.
That's the first time I've heard chewy gooey in the middle, but I love that so much.
Just some chewy, people like texture. They like to feel like they're chewing something. Sometimes pizza can be too airy to the point that it's dry, and that's for some people. To me, that's not good. That's not what's good dough. What's good dough is something crispy, chewy. It's some texture.
Nah, I like the way you're describing it for sure.
Yeah.
How'd you get started in pizza?
It's a very, very good question. I've listened to your podcast. I really enjoy the show. This is like part of my personal journey into pizza. If you guys don't know, I'm a stand-up comedian. That's like my profession. Since 2010, it's been my full-time job. And in March 2020, me and the rest of the artists in the world found out how non-essential our job is. Okay? You can't be a performer in a pandemic, I found out. So I I was off the road. I have a son, so I was just full-time dadding it every single day and not touring. I just felt I wasn't myself. I couldn't get my art out. There was no artistic expression happening. And so in order to deal with that depression, if you will, I bought a UniPro and I just started making pizzas like 15, 20 at a time, like every weekend since I got the oven. And I would give them to neighbors and friends. And my friends were like, almost immediately, you have to sell this. And I'm like, no, I just started. And there are people that dedicate their entire life. This is an art, people dedicate their entire lives to this. I'm just getting started. Um, there's no way I could sleep at night taking people's money for this this new pizza that
Right.
I'm just following recipes out of books or whatever. But that evolved, like 20 pizzas every weekend minimum, like you get a lot of experience. And so it took like 4 or 5 months and I was eventually talked into selling my pizzas. And so I just started popping up in friends' backyards and yeah, so I started my own little pizza pop-up. I just had one this past Saturday and that's how I got into pizza. The rambly story, but I got into pizza because the pandemic took me off stages around the country and around the world, and so I put my just all my artistic purpose into the pizza.
Wow. That's a huge change. I feel like I don't want to underplay the fact that you're a comedian. Like, you're not just at the local comedy club. You are
Yeah,
everywhere, right?
yeah,
I saw
yeah,
the reason why I reached out to you was Mike from Pizza in the Sack told me he saw you with Joe Coy, which
yeah,
yo, Filipino brother, stand up! Like, what's up?
yeah,
You're out there.
yeah, bro. Joe Coy's one of the homies. Like I've toured with him. I tour with Angela Johnson, who's uh,
Love her.
from San Jose. Um, and I've been around the world with Angela, and that's like a big part of our traveling on the road is like I would call myself a pizza enthusiast. My friends would call me a pizza snob, a bougie ass pizza person, but it is what it is. I would travel every weekend. We'd be in a different city in the country or around the world, and I would Google like what's the best pizza here, and I would take Angela to at least one place, but I would oftentimes go like three different pizza places in a day in a city just to like taste like what's the best pizza I can have in the world. And they come out with that list every year, like the 100 best pizzerias in America. Like my
Yeah.
friend sent me that list one time, and I'd been to like 55 of the 100 just from like all the travel doing stand up and like the curiosity to eat pizza. So I've been into pizza like as a fan of pizza, not a creator of pizza, for many, many, many years since a kid, but seriously with my own money for many years.
Cool. I mean, having the opportunity to travel the world gives you that opportunity to try out those good pizza places. What are you trying to recreate with your pizza at home?
That's a good question. I think what I'm trying to create with the pizza that I make is what I described with the first question. I just want something that's the perfect dough to me, which is crispy bottom, chewy in the middle, and then putting great toppings on top. And I'm just really kind of putting my point of view into the pizza. And like I'm vegetarian, so most of the pizza creations that I create are, vegetarian pizzas. Um, and I'm in the very early stages of being a pizza maker, so I'm using resources such as this podcast, Google. I have like a handful of books at home that I've been reading, just like learning something new from like the guests on your show, or videos I watch on YouTube, and just applying that to my art every day is kind of like but the goal is to make that perfect pizza, get a recipe to make this perfect pizza.
Dope. I definitely fumbled that question when I said recreate, but you're essentially just creating like the perfect image in your mind and then trying to put it down on that
Yeah,
canvas of pizza dough, right?
for sure, for sure,
Any
for sure.
influences from places that you've eaten at, or is it all just like, no, I
I've
know I know Mal. This is what I like.
No, I'm not arrogant enough to say that I know anything, because I think this is an art, as I'm sure you would agree. It's something that's like, um, I love making pizza because it reminds me of stand-up. And what I mean by that is, like, every time I make pizza, I learn something new. Every time I go on stage, I learn something new. I tell people, as it relates to coming to my shows, I'm like, my next show is my best show, because I'm going to learn something from today and add it to my toolkit for tomorrow. And I feel the same way about pizza. Like every single time I listen to something new, read something new, or just physically make the pizza, I learn with each pizza. Like, and pizza making is like stand up in that it's down to the molecule, like you have to weigh the ingredients. You can't just eyeball it. With stand up, it's down to words, like a joke can be a banger or bomb based on word choice. And I've learned that from experience, like one night this thing goes great. The next night I change a couple of words and it's crickets. Same thing with the pizza. It's like, these toppings work, these toppings together do not work. Take, what was changed. Um, and so I love that it just challenges me to be to learn something every time I do it. Not only do I love the pizza, but I love learning, and that's what keeps me interested in it.
Yeah, such a great point. I had one of the best pies that I made ever in my lifetime 2 days ago. It was so
Nice.
crispy, a little charred at the bottom. And I was like, I gotta recreate this thing. And you know where this goes.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but you learn from those mistakes when you don't let the dough, come to temp if you're taking it out of the fridge, and then
hmm
hopefully you apply it to next time.
Yeah. Yeah. Small mistake. But the cool thing about pizza is that oftentimes, as the pizza maker, you know what the mistake was. Like you can trace it back to like, oh, I didn't let the dough come to room temperature, or I knew that the stone was too hot, but I just put the thing in there anyway, or you know, the stone was too cold and I put it in there anyway. Like there was any number of mistakes that you make that you're making, but you're like, let's see what happens. And when you mess up, like, okay, I messed that up.
Yeah. It becomes part of your fuck up bank, and hopefully you don't
Yes,
have to withdraw from that.
yes, yes. Fuck up bank. I like that.
Oh, wow. My day is made. That seemed like a natural laugh, so I'm good. I made a comedian laugh today.
Fuck up bank is good though. I have that in my head, but I've never named it. So now I have a name. Fuck up bank.
Cool,
When I
cool.
go, because like I've inspired friends to get like a two different friends bought UniPros based on me making pizza, and I've seen them like I'll be at their place watching them do the pizza, and I'm like, they're dipping into the fuck up bank right now, but they have no idea. And I could say something, and they wouldn't learn, or I could just let them add this to their own fuck up bank, and that's what's gonna happen.
Oh gosh. do, do you think it's like pretentious or like assholey to point that out, or do you think it's like a teaching moment? What do you think?
I mean, it's a little bit of both, but I don't know if you have this problem with your friends, but I have this tone that has been described as, condescending. And so sometimes I'll just be trying to point out to help, but it sounds like, "Hey, you idiot, this is not the way." And I didn't say any of those words, but but so instead of creating a situation, if it's not life or death, most of the time just I'll let the mistake happen.
Yeah, definitely. I have that too, where I think I'm helping people, but maybe I just shut up and I don't know, try to think about it before speaking. Sometimes I
Yeah,
just ramble and it comes out the wrong way.
yeah, yeah, totally, totally. And you don't want people to think you're a know-it-all. Um, and even if I say that, like I don't know everything. I just know what I know. I know what I've learned. And so I'm going to try to teach you that. But, some people need to learn on their own.
Facts.
Yeah.
Why did you choose the Uni Pro?
I chose the UniPro because I'm a pizza snob, right? It has to be wood fired. There has to be a fire element to me. I think that there's also an art to maintaining a fire, like letting the fire tell you when it's fine, when it's not fine, and just knowing the signs of that. And I didn't want to mess around with pellets. I wanted to cut the wood. I like the whole process, so I wanted to be able to chop the wood and make the fire. So I just steered clear of the pellet options, and all the gas options because the gas was cheating, in my opinion. Um, it's just too easy. You know what I mean? Just set the temp, and it's like that takes a whole element out of the pizza. No, no disrespect to anyone listening to this that has any of the gas uni codas or whatever you guys, but for me, I needed to do the fire. I needed it. Like all the great pizza that I've had around the world has been from like wood fired ovens. Definitely some from non wood fired ovens, but the ones that like stick out in my brain are the wood fired ones.
Hmm. So after cutting up all that wood and, getting blisters on your fingers and dealing with the gusty winds putting out your fire,
Hmm.
do you regret it, or are you still like, are you going to double down if you were to ever upgrade your oven?
Oh no, I've already upgraded the oven. Because I had to because the when I started doing my pop up, the pizzas were selling out so fast, and I couldn't like the volume was too much for the Pro, so I had to step up to something a little bit more insulated. But I use the Uni. That's like my R&D oven now, and every single time with the fire, I do charcoal and wood now. That like helps control the temperature, so it's less
Hmm.
unpredictable. Um, but yeah, I would go with the wood fire every single time. It's definitely harder. There's definitely a learning curve with it, but I think at the end of the day, it's like it makes a more rustic, a more true like product.
Can you tell me about the charcoal and the wood? How are you setting that up?
Yeah.
I feel like I talked to a lot of people doing wood fired, and I feel like I haven't heard anyone mention the word charcoal, but I know that people have used it. I just no one's ever mentioned it on the show before.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely started with just wood. Um, but the charcoal to me, the thing that is dope about it is it's good at getting like a base temperature for the stone on the uni because it's so hot, right? So I use lump charcoal just because, again, you guys, I like everything to be as difficult as possible. Like I could use briquettes, which are easy, but the lump charcoal, it comes in different sizes. It's I don't know, it pops more. It's more rustic to me. So I just throw the lump charcoal into a chimney, get the coals going, and just dump those into the back, the wood area. And I let those heat up the stone for a little while, and then once I know I'm gonna like be ready to start cooking pizzas, probably 10 or 15 minutes before I'm gonna cook the pizza, I'll put in a couple of good size like oak chunks of actual wood, and those will start to burn and create their own coals basically. And then once I'm actually cooking the pizza, I take smaller pieces of oak and throw that in there to get the flame going over the top. So I have the base with the lump charcoal. I have the second level with my own like little oak chunks that are creating their own charcoal, and then sort of sticks over the top to give me the cook on the top. That's my UniPro process.
Would wood not heat up the stone as easily? What's the benefit of using charcoal over wood to kind of get that floor temp?
In my experience, and I'm definitely not an expert, but just in my experience, the when you're using wood, it's the wood gets hot very fast and then comes down, and the uni oven is a smaller oven, so you can't really use thick pieces of wood to like
Right.
burn and then make like actual coals, right?
Yeah.
So what the charcoal does is, since it's not burning and it's just hot, it just sits back there, and it's more of a slow heat up process for the stone, slow and consistent. It's very hot, but it's not like getting cold as fast as wood is when it burns and then comes down. That's just my logic.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think that's super useful for folks. I think also one thing too is the control aspect of it. You know, wood gets super hot. If you have the charcoal there, you kind of keep it consistent. Am I
Oh,
gathering that
yeah,
correctly?
totally, totally. Even with like the natural hardwood briquettes I have used, and those are even more. Those are easier to predict. They're way more predictable, right? Because the briquettes like put out a certain amount of heat, and so like I did tests where I was like, okay, 40 is too many, 20 is not enough. If I have 30 to 35 of those as like my bed, that'll get the stone warm at a slower rate, and then I put the wood on top of that. Um, yeah,
Props
trial and
to you
error,
counting that.
trial and error, bro. I'm half Asian, dude. Like I'm Japanese, and so counting and being precise is like it's part of the culture, and so and so taking notes and counting each briquette was like kind of a natural instinct to do.
That makes sense. I mean, I would just try to eyeball it and then wonder what I did wrong. So props to you. I like that process.
Yeah.
So you upgraded your oven
Hmm.
because things were going well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was crazy going from like not believing that anyone would want to buy this pizza to I had I had like 30 is kind of where I'm most comfortable as a max output for my pop-up. And the reason why that number, which I figured out the hard way how to get to that number, is I'm living. So the pandemic took me off tour, out of performing, and it also moved me into the country. So I live an hour outside of San Diego. So when I pop up, I'm
Mm.
going to my friend's house in San Diego, different friends' houses, and popping up in their backyard and delivering the pizzas to the street. And so I need time for setup and breakdown, and that takes away from the cook time. Um, and so 30 is like a good amount where I'm not just like slammed all day, and I can give each pizza the time and the attention that it needs. Um, but yeah, I bought a another wood-fired oven. I bought a Maximus Arena, so it's still portable, fits in the car, but it's a bit beefier than the Uni that I was than the UniPro.
So far, no complaints with that oven. Any feedback on
No,
that?
I lo I love it. So in picking an upgraded oven, I I I don't know, something in my soul told me that I wanted an Italian oven. You know, pizza's Italian food. It's like I want to get an Italian oven, and it was all like because of the aesthetics and like and the reputation of just that country for making pizza since it started there. I'm like, well, the ovens must be the best there. If you're gonna, you know, I don't know. I just wanted a cool looking Italian oven. They cost a lot of
Yeah.
money, right? And I had a very specific budget because, again, I'm not touring, so I didn't have a ton of money. And my fiance helped me create like a choice matrix, I think is what it's called. And so she weighted all these questions about the oven, like, you know, how many pizzas does it fit? How heavy is it? Like, all these, how much does it cost? Like, all these different variables, and had me answer all these questions. And the Maximus Arena won. And to be honest with everybody, that was my least favorite oven. Like just aesthetically, I didn't think it looked cool, but I put it on the list because it fit the price criteria and the size criteria. But I didn't want it to win, and so when it won, I was bummed out. There's the least amount of information on the internet about that oven as opposed to all the other options. And when that one won, my fiance was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I didn't want this one to win. It's I don't like it. It's from Portugal. I don't know if they have pizza in Portugal. You know, like how do I know if this is gonna work?" And then she's like, "Okay, we can add more questions to the thing and see." And but just so everyone knows, this oven won by like a landslide. Like the next closest oven was like half the point value away. So this was the clear winner. And we added more questions, and the thing went higher. It was like, this is the oven you need, and I got it. And I have to be honest with you guys, I love it. It's worth the money, and yeah, it's awesome.
A choice matrix. That's a very rational way of deciding
It's totally
for a big
unemotional,
purchase.
totally
Yeah.
unemotional, dude. And she was so
That
cold-hearted about it too. And I was like, well, this one didn't. It doesn't look good though. She's like, but it does everything else you need. And I'm like, yeah,
uh
but I want it to look cool.
what were some other questions on that choice matrix for getting people to kind of
So
apply
for
that
me,
into their own lives?
yeah, so for me, I needed the oven to be portable. So it had to be under 200 pounds so me and my fiance could lift it in and out of the car. Number two, I don't own a truck, so it had to fit in a Prius, and so size was an issue. I wanted the Firestones to be at least an inch thick. That was one of the things on there, and it had to. I wanted the floor space to be at least 2 feet. I think that's what I. Yeah, the size of the oven floor, and it had to be wood burning, and that was the other thing. It had to be a wood burning oven. And I forget what the other questions were non pizza related that she came up with. And I was like, well, okay, we can add these questions, but technically this is like the stuff that I need it to do.
Bare bones.
And it won, dude. It
Uh,
won by a landslide, and I took myself out of it. I took some humble pie and was like, well, if is what the this matrix
no.
says, if this is what it says, then I'm gonna trust it because I answered all these questions, and this is the one that is the top choice, and it ended up being right.
I'm so lucky today. I had two really good pizza puns today. That humble pie, and someone said for the first time. I've never heard "try not to be too needy," and I was like, "Yo, today is fire." um, why? Just out of curiosity, I mean, wouldn't it have been more cost effective and yeah, wouldn't it have been more cost effective and maybe just as easy to have doubled down on UniPro and just get two of them?
Yeah, but I was looking for the insulation. The
Mm,
dance of keeping the fire at the temperature, like keeping the stone at the temperature that I want it to be at, which is like I cook the pizzas between 7 and 800 degrees is like my spot. Like kind of six 680 to 780. That's like the range, right? And to get that temperature dialed in exactly on the uni is a it's a dance. It's like a very precise dance, you know? It's like a Jabberwocky's like very precise dance to get it right
gotcha,
there
gotcha.
and to do a bunch of pizzas. Like if I'm just doing one or two pizzas at home, that's fine. That's why I use it at home still for like when I'm choosing like trying to create pizzas. But in a pop-up situation, I was having to make like 10 or 15 extra doughs because I was either going to burn the thing or the doughs were coming out undercooked if I was doing a couple in a row, you know, like I couldn't get the temperature exactly where I wanted it. So that's why.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's too many variables as it is. What you're saying is for the Maximus Arena, it would have just been it would have allowed you to dance a little bit more
Yeah,
smoothly.
yeah, more freestyle.
Love it. Yeah, I had never even I'd never even heard about that oven before. When you posted it, I was like, I've never even seen this before. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, man. And that was another one of my issues with buying it was haven't seen it. It doesn't pop up like the Alpha ovens or the Uni ovens or you know Il Fornino ovens. Like there's all these. I know too many ovens now. Um, but there was no information, but it checked all the boxes, and so I just took a chance because the price was actually right as well. So it worked out.
Great. As long as
Yeah,
it works out for your specific situation.
totally, totally.
So going back to your pop-ups, I heard you say earlier that you're going to a friend's house. Are they just open arms, slide through, give me a pizza? Are they charging you? What's that
No,
situation like?
I mean, what kind of friends do you have, bro? Hey, come over to the house and pop up, but you got to pay rent. What? Are we friends or not?
No, for real, yeah.
No, I pop up. So I pop up in my best friend's backyard, and her house is like very central San Diego, so it's a very good location. And then I pop up at another very good friend's backyard, and I picked these two friends because they both have kids, and my son's going to be 2 tomorrow, and so he's in the same age like group as like all the those two families' kids, so they play. And since we've been isolated for a year, it's like you know, he hasn't been very socialized. Like he hasn't, he sees me, his mom, and my mom, and that's it. And so any opportunity to get him around other kids and be social is I'll take it. And so that's why I picked those two. And then the one for my best friends, she's like just down, like we're homies for 20 plus years. She's down to help with anything. And she's also interested in pizza. She loves cooking. So she helps like turn the pizzas while I'm stretching and topping. And so I have extra set of hands, which is nice over there. Um, but yeah, that's the main reason why I picked those two is family element, and then they're both central locations, so like people all over San Diego can come get the pizzas.
Who's your customer base?
So I'm very lucky with this, with my pop-up. I've noticed is that a lot of the people coming are like stand-up fans. Like that's who was buying the pizza at the beginning. Like people would show up to pick up their pizza wearing like my merch and like coming to get the pizzas. And it was like in the pandemic, obviously they hadn't seen me on stage, so it was like almost a way to do a meet and greet and just kind of like, you know, touch each other, so to say, like, hey, we're gonna be okay. We could still interact this way. If not, if I can't come see your show, I'll come check out your pizza. And and that bothered me in a way because I have low self-esteem, and so I was like, dude, I don't want charity. Like I'm making this pizza and I'm putting my my heart and soul into this because I love pizza and I'm proud of this, so that's the only reason why I'll accept your donation for it. But what I noticed is that after the first couple, I was getting repeat customers and they were ordering more. And food is one of these things that it doesn't matter how much you like the person making it. If the food sucks, you're not going back. And so
Ooh.
that was really an affirmation for me is when people were like, yo, like they're like the regulars are snapping the pizzas up so fast that it's hard to like grow the business because I'm only selling so many and they're getting them before anyone else could get them. So like I said, the pizzas are selling out. I had one sell out in 17 minutes. Like they're under an hour and I'm sold out. And people are on the Instagram like, hey, the website is down. And I'm like, no, it's sold out. I took the website down. So be quicker next
Sheesh.
time. They're like Jordans, dude. It's like they're like
For real.
it's crazy, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of I don't know. I'm just proud to not be taking advantage of people. That I'm very concerned with that in any aspect of my art. Is like I'm putting my heart and soul into it, and I'm giving you something that I would buy myself, and so that's I know that's very important to me, and so it's nice to see it seeing it pay off every time I pop up.
Yo, that is so real. I mean, like, you could easily sell an opportunity to meet Mal and oh yeah, get a pizza too. Um,
Yeah,
but the fact is that you're standing behind your pies. Like, this is something that you yourself would buy, and you yourself are a pizza snob,
yeah.
and so it's really cool that you're trying to put out the best product out there. Do you have people who are just like, fuck, you should stick to comedy, or is it all pretty like?
Like they started a Yelp page just to give me 1 star.
No,
Go
I
back to
imagine it's
comedy, bro.
impossible.
No, it's I I've reached out to I did a survey. I did an anonymous survey. I told you
Ooh,
I'm very
like that.
like I want to be honest with myself, you know what I mean? And since I've started out with fans like already they already like me, so I'm already, ahead in this game. And but I wanted them to, feel like they could give me honest feedback about the pizza. So I did an anonymous survey that I created on Google Forms or something, and I sent it out just asking questions about like, would you get it again? What stuck out to you as like the most memorable part about the pizza? What would you change? Like all just a quick survey, and all of there was like the only negative feedback was like, oh, you like I didn't have toppings that they wanted, or I put on the menu no substitutions, and they would like some substitutions, but I don't fuck with substitute. I'm not a restaurant. And if I was a
That's real.
restaurant, like I love restaurants when you go in there and it says no substitutions, because that's the chef telling you, hey, I know what the fuck I'm doing, and this is gonna be
Facts.
great. And if you don't
Yeah.
if you don't like what is on this list right here, You could pick it out yourself, or you could order from the rest of the menu and find a combination that pleases you. But I'm not changing what we're doing back here.
Right.
And
Right.
Starbucks fucked it up for America with the we'll make it a million times until you're happy. And now you have people going into Starbucks. Can I get a 19 pump vanilla chai, 2 scoop? Like, how do you know? How do you know? They figured it out. Just take it how it comes. But the feedback was there was nothing glaringly negative that made me feel like, people are just doing me a favor. It was more, people wanted more choice and more options. And so yeah, it kept me going.
Yeah. I am sort of like you in a way where it's like, I just think that, how did you describe it earlier? Like, did you say you belittle yourself or your,
I have low self-esteem about it.
low self-esteem?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do too. I put out, and I applaud you for putting out the anonymous survey. It's a great way to get feedback. And I'm just like, tell me the bad stuff out of it,
Yeah.
Like, give me the negative.
That's how we grow. And like as comedians, like especially that I learned that from comedy, It's like if you come see my show and I kill, like that's great. It's an amazing experience that you had, but I didn't learn as much. There's no way I could learn a ton from a great set. But when you come to my show, hopefully it's not every time, and you see me up there struggling, that's me like taking some chances and learning something new and making myself a better performer. But you have to get the honest feedback. And in comedy, like you get honest feedback because if what you're saying is not funny, people aren't giving fake laughs. They're going to be silent or they're going to, try to heckle you, do something and something like that. But in food, people just won't order again. So you don't know what you did. It's just like, okay. But
Right.
with the survey, to me, it's like, hey, tell me, be real. And people were,
Tell me
I
what's up.
feel like they were put their feelings on the paper, and I felt good about it.
Yeah, they have no excuse not to. It's anonymous. Like,
Yeah.
just be real. You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
And people like being
There's
negative
this one.
too. So they would
Right.
just go, people will take the opportunity to slam you, especially when it's anonymous. Go into the comments on Instagram. Like, you'll see what people
damn.
do. You know what I mean? Like, that's where
I don't.
the evil is behind that keyboard.
Yeah, I do and I don't. Like, not personally to me, because I don't have a huge following like that on IG, but I see them on YouTube comments. People are just assholes.
Yeah. Yep.
There's this one thing I heard in comedy where, people practice for their big shows by going to small little shows, like more local, like audiences, and trying, like earlier you said you iterate, right? And you try to figure out what words work. Did you do any of that with pizza?
My friend owns a catering business, and he sells pizza he sells his barbecue at a BMX track, and he's like, they want pizza. Can you come and do pizza? And I was like, I'm not a business, dude. Like, I don't feel comfortable. And he was like, he kept asking me, because he said he would like buy from the pop-up and then eat it in front of me and be like, hey, can you make this at my thing? And I'm like, finally I said yes. And the reason why I said yes is because it was an opportunity to get feedback from people that don't know me at all. You know what I mean? Like, when I started doing stand-up, I would invite all of my friends to all of my shows. And I didn't really have many bad shows because my friends were just giving me the love regardless of what I was saying, which is what you think you should do for your friend, but it's very detrimental to the process. So once I realized that, I stopped inviting my friends and I started learning more and getting funnier faster. And so I told him, yeah, I'll do this pop-up with you just to see what I can learn from people that don't know me. And so I just made a small menu, just cheese, just pepperoni. And I wanted to see if the crust is a big deal, and see how strangers responded. And I had multiple people come up and say it was the best pizza they've ever had, which that's a tremendous compliment that I have had to teach myself to take, because I don't know if your low self-esteem does this to you, Idrift, but when people tell me, "Oh, this is the best pizza I've ever had," I'm like, "Well, maybe you haven't had enough good pizza." Because because I hate myself a little bit. But it is good pizza, and I know it is good pizza, but in my mind I'm like, it's not the best pizza. This is the best
Oh
pizza you've
God.
ever had? Okay. I guess I'll take. My fiance's like, you gotta take a compliment, dude. They wouldn't come and tell you if they didn't really, really enjoy it. I'm like, okay. And she's like, stop judging their lives. I'm like, okay. My bad. My
Uh,
bad. But yeah,
they,
so that's I went there and got more honest feedback from people. Like my fans already like me. Those people don't know me, and so they gave me the real.
that's a great story. Yes, I get that. I get that enough times, and I'm just like, really though? Like,
Yeah,
I know I fucked up somewhere. But
yeah.
that's cool. Okay, so where do you want to take, Mal Hall is Hall, right? Mal Hall's
Yeah,
pizza party.
Malhol. So, so again, I not again. I haven't said this, but when I got the UniPro, I had no intention of selling pizza. It was just a way for me to get through the pandemic with with a food that I truly love that I wasn't able to get around the country right now. And now that the pop up is like taken off, um, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna keep letting it grow slowly and not put any expectation on it as to like there's no plan for it. I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna let it evolve naturally, um, and and yeah, just see what happens, because eventually, like the world is opening up again here pretty soon, and I'm gonna be touring, and so I think it's going to be. I think the pizza party, the pizza pop-ups are going to be an amazing thing, um, to have once or twice a month when I'm at home, like weekends where I'm not on the road or whatever, like a way for me to still stay in this passion, but while still giving it respect, because I don't want to do a thing where it's like I pop up every couple of months. That means I'm not really making pizza all the time. I'm not really getting better. It's just I don't know if that makes sense to you. Like I want to make sure that I'm really dedicating myself to my pizza craft, and I know that I'm gonna have to give that a certain amount of time, but I also have to give stand up a certain amount of time, to be honest to both of them and true to both of them. So I'm gonna have to find that balance. But I definitely don't see me not making pizza, and there's enough people that like want to help and to want me to create like something that's semi-permanent, like something that they can set their calendar to, um, that kind of keep me going. So
Hmm. I like the, let's just let it go and see where it happens kind of vibe. It can alleviate some of the pressure. Um, but I also, respect the fact that you don't want pizza to be an afterthought after comedy, starts back up again. You want to continue, learning and growing with it. Is it unthinkable to bring your ovens on tour with you and
see,
kind of have that vibe going on?
that's a great question, and that's definitely something that I'm considering. Um, so I tour with some big name comedians as like the main support act, but the dream and the goal with stand up is to for me to be the headlining act, right? And so as I build towards that, it's like it's I don't know, it's very much I'm building my own community of fans, right? And my fans have previously to me making pizza, they've known that I love pizza. Like I'll get tweets or DMs of like every city we go to, check out this pizza place. Like they know I'm here for the pizza.
So cool.
And so I'm toying around with the idea of like doing like a pizza party tour or whatever. Like figure out where I can go and pop up in certain cities and do the show on Saturday and then the pizza is on Sunday type situation. Or people have said, why don't you do the show and then afterwards, like you're making pizza after the show? And I'm like, because that's too much work. That's like a lot. Like people don't understand that making the pizza is a lot. It's the prep. It's then your back bending down, looking into this oven for X amount of hours. So I would definitely want it to
Yeah.
be something separate, but I think that could be cool. That would definitely set, I've never heard of a tour like that before where it's like you go see your favorite band and then the next day they're grilling out because they love grilling. It's like, I'm into it. So it is a possibility. So I could do both, but I'm going to focus on each one separately until that opportunity gets here.
Yeah. I like what you said. It's a lot to host a pop up. And I don't know if this is you, but the day before my pop up, leading up to the week before my pop up, I'm thinking about that thing. And if you're, performing on stage at the level you are, I'm sure you have to be laser focused, and I'm sure that the way you approach pizza, you also have to be laser focused. And so I can imagine it being hard, but I can also, like you kind of said earlier, there is a possibility, and possibilities are typically endless.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's to be good at it, you have to be laser focused, and to me, it shows that you care. That to stress yourself out the night before, leading into the pop up, like people that were doing a half-assed job sleep really well the night before a pop up or before a big show. To me, yeah, you have to have some level of anxiety because that's you telling yourself that you care about what you're about to do. And so, yeah, I definitely have the anxiety before the pop up, even like at the beginning. So like I popped up on Saturday, and my friends kind of know when I'm in the zone now. They don't try to talk to me because like when I'm really getting the rhythm at the very beginning, it's like I'm checking everything to make sure everything is right. Like, hey, don't touch anything, don't ask me any questions. I need to make sure that everything is right, because if people are giving you money for any art that you're doing, you should care about their money. They worked for it. So that goes for the comedy and the pizza. It's like I'm gonna make sure this is right. And if it's not right, it's not going out.
Love that. Cool. Very cool. Very cool. I want to try some rapid fire questions with you. Just, short answers if that's okay. What type of flour do you
Stop
use?
rambling, Mal. Cool, 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 Idra. If you could please keep it to 2 sentences, Mal. Cool, cool, cool.
No, I'm never going to ask these questions again.
No, rapid fire is good. Rapid fire is good. I use all trumps right now.
Tomato? What tomatoes do you use?
Tomatoes. I use Stanislaus and I use Bianca DiNapoli tomatoes.
What
The
kind of
reason
cheese do you
why,
use?
yeah, the reason why I'm using those two tomatoes is because I'm trying to figure out if I could taste a difference. They're both so good that it's hard to for me to taste a difference. And I have a friend that owns a restaurant, so it's easier for me to get the Stanislaus tomatoes from him. And so while I have the access, I'm just like doing some R&D.
Gotcha.
The cheese that I'm using, I just started because I listened to one of your other episodes and they were talking about locally sourced ingredients, and that really spoke to me. Um, and I haven't done research on local dairies in Southern California. I don't think we really have them. Like, this is not where cheese comes from. Actually, California cheese, but it's like when I was on tour in 2019, I went to this dairy in Wisconsin, a very small dairy, and the guy was telling me about like, oh, we make the cheese right down the road, and we have this, and this. And after that episode, I forget who it was I listened to. I was like, I'm gonna reach out to that dairy and see if they could send me some, you know, some cheese. And so it's called Decatur Dairy out of Wisconsin. And so I'm using their mozzarella now and their Havarti. And yeah,
Okay.
so it's the local to America.
I didn't want to comment on it, but thank you. I was like, did you really get something from the episode? Or
Local to the country.
gotcha. There you go. And if you had one topping to finish your pizza with, what would that be?
To finish. That's a good one because I like a good dusting of pecorino romano is good to finish a pizza. I confit garlic for a few of my pizzas, and so that a nice drizzle of that confit garlic oil is always great. And Mike's hot honey is also a go-to. So to answer your question, I rambled.
Jerk. You're a jerk to yourself and to me. I asked you for one.
Yeah, and I realized after I gave you the second one, I was like, he wanted short answers, and I was like, well, I'm on to the third one already.
All good. I always end the show with these two questions. What is one mistake that people should avoid in the pizza business?
I think one mistake that can be avoided, and this is something I've learned from myself making pizza and from just traveling and eating a ton of pizza, is like not listening to feedback. You know what I mean? Like your customer is your audience and they will tell you when it's amazing, but you have to also listen to them when they're telling you that they don't like something. And I think that's yeah, that's a mistake people could avoid.
Feedback is super important, as we've established. And I think just to kind of piggyback on that, it's like people are going to tell you a bunch of things. You should listen to some of them. But also, if it doesn't sound right, try to get somebody else to kind of understand where that feedback is coming from to see if it's genuine, because the person that's telling you this could be wrong. But if you ask another person and that they kind of double down on that feedback, okay, maybe it's something I can listen to.
Yeah.
But sometimes it pays off to bet on yourself too.
1,000%. You should I mean, at the end of the day, you have to make the decision. But if you hear the same answer, the same response multiple times from different people that aren't connected, that's probably something you should listen to. And you have to, did I say humble pie earlier? I did. You have to be able to take that ego shot and change sometimes. And I think
Absolutely.
that's like a big deal.
For sure. And Mal, what do you want to leave the audience with today?
Just leave you guys with some positivity, laugh, and support artists. And they don't have to be local artists. Support independent artists is what I would say. And that's something that I can appreciate personally, and I know that Idrif, you can appreciate that as well. And in this time where we haven't been able to really go out and support businesses and artists, I think it's very uplifting to see. I've been shared a bunch of different artists like in this past year because artists have been just sort of stuck at home creating their art in sort of a bubble. And the fact that if you're a fan of something or someone, do your best to tell like 5 or 10 people, because that artist will appreciate it more than you know. And the power of word of mouth is still a thing that exists in this country. Like you don't have to go viral to get the word out. You could tell 10 people and that's viral on a very small level, because people consider the recommendations from their friends at the utmost, firsthand experience people really appreciate. And if you could do that for an artist of any kind, I think that's how we can make ourselves better as a community for the rest of this year and just going forward.
Mal, thank you so much for being on the show. You were hilarious. You educated me. And I'm so invested in your pizza journey. And I hope you kill it, both on the comedy side and on the pizza side. And I'm excited to see you on stage in just a couple of weeks. See you in San Jose, bro. To you, the listener, what'd you think? I mean, come on. Shows can't really get any better than that. Some comedy, some education, and some good times with a pizza homie. So make sure, if you liked the episode, check out Mal Hall's Instagram. Follow him there. Let him know what's good, though. Make sure, kind of like what we talked about in the beginning, share this art with your friends and family and fellow pizza lovers. I'd really appreciate it. And leave me some feedback so I can continue to improve. You can leave me some feedback via DM on IG. Leave me some feedback as an Apple Podcast rating, or there is an anonymous survey in the show notes if you so fancy. Also, make sure to check out Mal's comedy tour with Angela Johnson. If you don't know who Angela is, she is hilarious. Look up her previous YouTube videos. She got the Vietnamese nail salon lady. Oh my goodness, from San Jose. Oh, so hilarious. You just got to see both of them on stage doing their thing. Other than that, till next time, peace. Damn, man, that answer was everything. And this conversation turned out so much better than I could have ever asked for. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to learn from you. Appreciate you.
Thank you for what you do for the pizza community. You allow a lot of pizza artists that whose voice wouldn't be heard all around the world. You give them a platform to teach pizza lovers like me the ins and outs of the business. But it's really not even the business. I think people that love pizza love your podcast because I'll say why I love it. The thing that really got me hooked to your podcast is you seem like just a friend, and you're asking the questions that a friend would ask. And so you don't seem like you're coming from a place of arrogance at all. It's more just like, hey, I'm chilling in the backyard with some friends talking about pizza. We all love pizza, and this guy has a little bit more knowledge. So if he could give us a few tips, then my pizza game is going to get better. I know you say that in your intro, and you're nailing it. So yeah, thank you for what you do. We all appreciate it. Yeah, it's crazy that Mike from Pizza in the Sack recommended me to come on here. Like, the pizza community is unlike the comedy community, which is like it's a very open community. I've learned this year. Like, people are very forthcoming with knowledge about, like, hey, this is what I do. This is, comedy is a very held tight kind of art,
That's so interesting.
So yeah, so Mike from Pizza in the Sack, I had no idea. I just found him through the Uni hashtag, and then Mike from Rose Hill Sourdough. I reached out to him after your episode, and it turns out, like, he used to listen to me on the radio station in San Diego that I used to work for, and so now we just, like, I'm making sourdough crust, and he's like we chat, like, we text back and forth now about sourdough, and it's like very, very cool.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Hey, thank you guys. Night. I appreciate it. Look forward to more episodes.
Appreciate you. Take care. Bye.